So thank you guys. I know you've got a million things going. So I planned this for a half-hour training. Oh, there you are, Mickey. I planned this for a half-hour training. I'll try to get through it fast. We've got a lot to get these people. Sorry, I have to admit everybody. More people coming in. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. That's better.
Good, good. So this is our fourth training. So hopefully you're ramping up to get that team hired out there for the garden center. So we've already kind of gone through a lot of that hiring experience. If you have any questions,
Me too.
Paulette can help you with Workstream. I am here to help you. I can send you the job descriptions that we've sent out. Everything is on Trello. So at this point, we should be having people hired because we are there. It is happening. Spring is coming. This afternoon, I think you'll see a pickup in sales. I think we've seen some pickups in sales so far. So we're there. Number one, most important, we have hit Trello hard this year. And so everything, any information will be placed on Trello. If you have not gotten on Trello, I have the QR code here. Take a picture with your phone, get on it. Because if you're going to say, I don't know when the truck's coming, I don't know when this is going to, it's all going to be on Trello. I understand it's a different platform. I understand it takes a minute. If you can do it mobily, it's perfect. Harry has put them on all your PCs at your service center. So take the time. Everything that we've gone through, any question you have, it's going to be on Trello. Don't feel bad about calling me. I will help you navigate through it. There is a lot of information on there, and it takes a second to learn the platform. So become familiar with it. The site is on the bottom and the QR code is to the left. I want to call out Mantino and Riley, and I'm pretty sure I've misspelled her name on there. Is it 2 L's? Yeah, apologize. I'll try to fix it before I send this out so I don't insult her. That little girl has worked at the garden center for, you might tell me how many years, 3 years? And she's learning as she goes. This year, she decided to have an in-store meeting with her team. I'm always a little hesitant because I am a control freak about information. She did a fantastic job. She kind of met with her team and explained what this process looks like at their store. And what was wonderful about it is she's new enough to have understood some of the questions she had. And, I'm 30 some years into this. I kind of forgot this. So even me reading what seemed important to her in this meeting educated me. So if anyone is interested in having, if anyone is interested in having an in-store meeting, just like you do a manager's meeting, a team's meeting, if you're a greenhouse associate, go to your manager and say, I think this would be useful. What Riley did that was so good is she strategically told everybody where everything goes at the Mantino location, like where their soils are, where their unload area is. I can't do that for you in each store, but you as a team can do that. And kudos to Jeremiah and Matt and Riley for putting that together, because it was really, really good. And it helps build that team that you're trying to build at your garden center. I can send you, Riley sent me her agenda, which I can send to anybody that wants to have a team's meet or a manager's meeting or a group meeting. Now, her agenda was specific to Mantino, but I don't think she would be upset if I shared that with you. It was great. So kudos to Mantino. Our next training will be next Wednesday. I think if there's a training you really want to sit in on, it's this one. It's high bills. It is kind of all that really beautiful blooming Mother's Day stuff. The hanging baskets, which everybody is always overwhelmed because we get so many. So unfortunately, with the process of how we have to hire how we have to order those uh, hanging baskets, we have to get way too many too quickly. And it is chaotic and crazy. So please, next week it'll be an hour and it'll be with Bobby Vinzale. So I'm going to start talking to you about deliveries because that's what's happening. We're in the fire. So probably you're seeing racks from Monrovia come. I don't know if you've been seeing plants. If you're seeing plants, I would love an email just saying, hey, we got our Bonnie, because you guys get from different Bonnie nurseries. They don't all deliver at the same time. So just let me know so I can kind of keep talking to you about weather and what needs to be protected and what doesn't. We have 15 locations. I think we probably have three or four different nurseries they come from. And I can get hold of the big guy at Bonnie that can make sure our deliveries are getting there if you haven't seen them. You should see Bonnie pretty early. Monrovia will be the next truck delivery that you should be seeing around the 20th. Chris is Manuka is our monster pilot store for growing that. So she has already kind of got organized her big orders. She's getting actually 3 early orders of Monrovia. Congratulations to Plainfield, who wrote a special order out there already for Monrovia product. So last week, if you remember, when we spoke to Monrovia, Sarah, who is like an old school great sales rep, had told us that they have not seen these sales since COVID. So they're projecting, and every grower I talk to is saying they're projecting. Now, granted, they're also trying to sell me their products, but I think it's going to be a great year. I really think it's going to be a great year. So organizationally, Swift, Blooming, High Bills, and 4-Star. Now, the only one that needs to be offloaded in that group is Blooming. They're all going to come at the same time. It's going to be, pardon my French, a shit show, which it always is. It's chaotic. So this week I locked those orders anywhere from the 23rd to the 27th, weather permitting. So that's going to be me talking to them on Monday. And if we don't see frost, I'd like to get them early to get you guys some time to organize and shift where everything is. Because earlier gives you more time with product. Later is safer, but then you're in more chaos to hit that, May 10th Mother's Day date. So, man, it's a whole lot of work in a very short period of time. There's no way I can sugarcoat that. My best advice is be ready outside for those shipments. This week, I am going to finalize pricing so that everything will scan. I'm still working on that. My best advice with delivery is I follow the Wilmington mode, man, all hands on deck. They are like magnets. They radio that the truck's there. Everybody comes out to see if they need to help. If they don't, they can leave, but help that if you have one greenhouse person, man, don't leave them stranded out there because they are freaking out. And then make sure you have that designated area that the truck is going to pull into, that you're going to offload onto, that you can roll the carts to if you can't immediately unload somewhere. Mantino is in parking lot HE double hockey sticks this time of year. So make sure you've got an area to offload the racks that is safe, and that won't get hit by a car, because as we experienced in Lockport, cars don't care that we're set up there. They're gonna go right through us. And so there's a few things with delivery. High bills, this is what a high bills delivery looks like. This is what the racking looks like. They usually have a lift gate, so you're usually pretty free and clear there. Anything plastic wrapped, please do not set on the blacktop and leave. It needs to come off pretty quickly. Remember, this truck has just came from Michigan. And so there is also up top of these trucks is usually a refrigeration system. And if a lot of time you'll see damaged product, it'll be from the top shelf because it might burn the plants. If you see that, immediately take a picture and send it to me. But, you know, sort of our process is get them all off, get them on the ground, and then, you know, get the plastic off the hanging basket ones as quick as possible. This is what your high bills invoice looks like. When the delivery truck comes, they will ask you to sign it. What I ask you to do is two things. Snap me a picture of it. Snap me a picture so I know what you got. Everybody, when it comes to loading this truck at High Bills plant in Michigan, what comes on your truck might not, or your order might not be filled for another order. They might run out of product. So even though all our orders should be exactly the same, they may not be invoiced the same because they might have ran out of product, had to fill some shelves with a different product. It may be something not even in our system, and I need to fix it. So as soon as you get that order, if you could snap a picture now, that picture you snap isn't where it ends, because accounts payable needs you to scan that invoice to them also. So there's a two-step process with this. Jill can't take a picture I send her. She needs that scannable invoice. So it is a two-step process. Any questions or problems with high bills delivery? Okay, jump in here anytime. Okay, blooming. Blooming, I am putting the order together Thursday or Friday, depending. This is what a blooming invoice comes. Blooming has to be offloaded. And as you can see, there are smaller racks. This is really when you need some help getting this product off. And you know what? We're putting it on the blacktop, which is fine. And this time of year, it usually isn't too crucial. But if it hits 70 or 80 degrees and it sits on a blacktop, it's not good. So make sure you're set up to get it off the blacktop. Blooming is the only, well, yeah, it's one of the only offloaded product. Also, they are a small grower. They're the people I love that just would do anything for us. And it's the owner's father-in-law that's a delivery truck driver. Be kind to him, get him a bottle of water. He's a great guy. He wants to move on to the next location. So don't say, oh, I don't have anybody right now, because you're gonna get missed. He's gonna go on to another stop, and you're gonna set all the stores ahead of you behind. So it's just not fair. It's a terrible way to run deliveries, but it's the nature of the garden center beast. So this is what your blooming will look like. Monrovia, like I said, Chris is going to get orders early. Your orders are going to come around the 20th. They come in wooden crates. I did not have a picture of that. But they don't need to be offloaded. You may need a fork truck, you may not. Again, I would like to say everybody has lift gates. But again, you got to remember they're hiring delivery trucking services, contracted trucking from those growers. They do not always have everything you need, so have your fork truck available in case you need it. But Monrovia is shrubs, perennials, and trees. And as Brittany saw, this is potential for growth. I mean, Britt, how big was that order? Can't remember.
5,200.
Yeah. Like she hasn't even started yet and she's got 52. Because when you do shrubs, you don't need usually one or two. I think some of your counts were like 11 or something like that. They were crazy. So the bigger the property is, the more groupings you need. And now is the time to do it. I will tell you this, if anybody says to you, I can buy Monrovia online, yes, you can. But the cost is 4 times as much as they're going to pay in your store. So some people will pay that for convenience. Some people won't. Manhattan, your chat is, what was your question, Manhattan? Can you open your mic?
As long as we know, this is what I wrote, as long as we know what days the deliveries come, we'll be all right. But that hard date is so important. 2 to 5 days, perfect. 24 hours is danger zone, and same day is a disaster.
Yeah, I agree
I mean, everybody
100%.
knows that, but
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And unfortunately, that may happen. It's just, as I've explained it before, it's a trucking commitment problem. I will try to find as much as I can. I do stock these sales reps for delivery times and dates. I also try to load us completely with trucks. So I can get 18 carts on a truck to just exclusively to deliver. So I would urge you guys to help me out in this. If they're in Plainfield and you say, hey, where are you going next? Give that next manager a heads up.
Okay.
Because that means a whole lot. Sometimes they load the truck backwards, so they got the first, and sometimes that shifts and I don't even know it. So I will, Scott, I 100%, I will try to how do you want me to do that? Do you want an email for deliveries, or do you guys check Trello for deliveries?
email, text, Trello, anything you can, as much as possible, honestly.
Got it. Got it. And I just, again, this is all trees and shrubs. This is not our store, but it is a store that goes heavy in trees. And this is just one kind of visual about how they display differently for Monrovia. 4-star, not everybody's getting 4-star. 4 stars is I think we went everybody over 40,000 in sales. It is in very expensive. I don't even remember some of the prices. I think there was $67, $80 planter. You are getting those. They're a little hard to communicate with, so I haven't. I set the delivery time for them the week before Mother's Day because they're so big and beautiful and bulky. I wanted you all set before you brought them in. So I will be communicating with them and letting you know when those come. I spoke to Swift growers yesterday. You are slated to all receive shipment on the 27th. Fingers crossed. I have no guarantee there. They usually do send me a confirmation, but it's only like the day before. And this comes in a crate system. So there's no panic. And if the weather is cold, whoops, If the weather's cold, I will tell you to leave it in the crate system. I did expand that this year for most stores. Some stores last year I tested the mini roses. I got mini roses for every store for Mother's Day, so they will be on there. Don't lose any of the point POP that Swift sends. It's great. They have a butterfly garden banner that really draws people's attention. So any questions about delivery other than it's a pain in the butt? All right. Going forward, we are going to use the playbook as our how we follow process. And I'm telling you, the playbook on ACE is fantastic. I'm going to shrink this, shrink this. So it is, if you go into ACE and you go into growth drivers, it'll say the garden place, click on the garden place, and there's an icon on the left that gets you to the playbook. This baby is 110 pages long, longer than I'm gonna go through it all, not gonna go through it all here, but it is answers every question. Now, there are some things in here you don't need to know. You don't need to know right now about buying and stuff like that. But I'm going to go through some of it with you. We went over this a little bit last week, how to wow your customers, and Paulette talked to you about this person out there in the greenhouse is the first person you see coming into your store. And usually they'll see the garden plants and they're in a whole lot happier mood than they are when they walk in a hardware store and they want to talk to them, engage with them, be that person. They're going to want to tell you what they plant. They want to tell you they're thinking about it. I'm telling you, it's so easy to have a conversation at the garden center this time of year. You'll learn things. This is Wendy from Joliet. So they took pictures at the Joliet store when Ace created this book. So always feel free to come to me anytime. But this is a good reference, and it will be our go forward process with Garden Center. I'm going to repeat this again. On average, every $1 of live goods sold, add an additional $3 of lawn and garden to your store. So as much as I want to glow in the fact that we're very successful in garden centers and you're very successful in garden centers, this is a necessity to our stores to increase your lawn and garden sales. I think Brittany is in Plainfield is huge proof of that. I mean, they're hit in the very beginning with the garden center, and I can't remember the average sale, but your average sale was around 20 some dollars. With the garden center, it's around 40 something. So they're buying from you. This year, I would really like us to be able to work on those add-on sales, and we'll talk about that further.
Lori, can I interject on this?
Yeah,
Scott
anytime.
Passion said last year that he sold stuff he never sold because his greenhouse has been so successful. What was it, like bone meal? And Scott, you could speak into it more than I can, but you sold stuff that you hadn't sold in 3 years because it was so successful out there. Correct?
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with Haley and Ruth and, everybody in the store actually knowing what they're talking about. And if they don't, they get with one of us right away. So the customers they're trusting us, they're trusting our advice. And we, as long as we don't lead them astray, they're going to keep coming back. I mean, people come back 2-3 times the same day. So it's so important.
That's a wonderful point, Scott. I wish I could duplicate Ruth everywhere. And Scott too, Scott's very knowledgeable about the product. But they do come back 2 and 3 times. On Mother's Day, there are so many people that plant for their mom on Mother's Day, and you will see their sons or daughters. It's so much fun to see those families do something like that. So make it convenient for them, make sure they have everything they need. I am recording this, so if you haven't gotten your team hired, please let them listen to these recordings. We are trying to create some, what did you tell me? Consistency, Paulette. She said, we got to create some consistency. Then after that, if you want to run and have a team's meeting and talk about how your store is handling all this, good for you. I think that would be great. So some of the stuff in this is so worth flipping through. I know that you guys are crazy busy right now, but we've already hit a lot of this. We followed the timeline. We created a plan of how we want our garden centers to look. I want to dive into this just a little bit. Because it's kind of changed my attitude when I went up to the Chicago show with the garden center set up. It was like eye-opening, and I thought I knew everything about garden centers. But what they taught me is kind of the display. I think we've always gotten our product in. It's so flipping much work to get it off the truck and get it up and get it displayed. We don't think about changing up the display and what that looks like. So color cells, put your bright and beautiful. Paulette, do you want to share what Mantino used to do?
We would put a basket of the day out front, and the gals would stand up there and deadhead it, and notoriously everybody was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful, and they would grab it. But that bright, showy stuff was always front and center, to your point.
Yeah. So again, I guess what I used to unload all these trucks. I used to drive around and unload trucks. I don't do that anymore. I know how much work it is. So I know when you get it in a place, you're like, okay. But I'm asking you to think about your weekend customers, your people walking into the store, what they will see first. Maybe drop some stuff inside the store if the manager allows it. Make it visually beautiful. And I'm telling you, as we see in Mantino, it just pulls people right out there. When you have your greenhouse looking extremely organized and visual, you're going to pull them in. I've seen it in Manhattan. I see it in Mantino. I see it in a lot of stores. You got to pull them. Once you've pulled them in, you're going to sell them stuff. So also make it easy, like make your carts up front, make it grab and go possible. Like there's some stores I go into, I don't really want to be bothered with people talking to me. I just want to grab my product and go, which is sometimes a lot of customers at a hardware store. So make those carts available, make it easy for them, but make sure you offer them a trunk liner for their car and offer them service to carry out. So all this is kind of all tips that I think are very well. Plus, make sure they've got everything for their project, right? I'll tell you what, I learned this a long time ago. If you're going to sell a guy that smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, tomatoes, and he's going to throw those tomatoes in his car and drive 45 minutes home, nicotine kills tomatoes. So make sure you intentionally make that customer successful in what they sell. And then I'm going to go back to what I say to everybody. Look, they're plants. They're our reputation. I work very hard at bringing the correct plants to you, good plants to you. Stand behind them. If a guy comes in and says, this did not work, or this was supposed to be a Roma tomato and it was a beefsteak, I am so sorry. Let me replace that for you. So make sure I am going to stand behind you. I will guarantee you somebody will come in with a fuchsia, which is a delicate plant. and they're going to say it died within 2 weeks. And you look at the fuchsia, it's never been watered. He probably put it in a wind tunnel with 90-degree heat. I don't care. I don't care. Give him, exchange it for him, exchange it with something more practical, ask him some questions. Don't hassle him or her, just exchange it for them. Stand behind your product. Our reputation to do that in Manhattan has been set for 30 years now. So be that store that takes care of your customer. In this guide too, there are layouts. Now, most of you already have your layouts, but there's something you can look at. I won't go through all that. So here are some tips for a receiving area and a holding area. I know those carts are a pain in the butt. I will try to keep getting hold of them to pick them up. Is that who's asking me about veg? I'm sorry, my chat isn't popping up long enough. If you have a question, just go ahead.
No, that's just me being annoying. Don't worry
No.
about me. No, I was just talking to Ruth that if anything was mentioned on going to the 4-inch veggies as opposed to flats.
Yeah, we are going to the 4-inch Chef Jeff. I thought she was going to send out posters on Chef Jeff. I don't know if anybody's received them, some POP, but next week I will talk to her about that and make sure she gets that out to you. We still will be getting some flats, Scott. I think cucumbers,
Yeah, be bush beans maybe or something.
yeah, some of the,
The old timers love flats. It's
I
just
agree.
probably because they've always done it that way. The newer customers like the product that's a little bit further along where they don't have to baby it as much, but in either way would be fine. It's just,
Yeah. No, we're
whatever's
going
more.
to the bigger ones for a number of reasons. Number one, the soil base is bigger. They don't dry out as quick and it's not as much labor intensity. Number two, down south, we're seeing the flats still selling. Up north, the 4-inch pots are hitting better, and the garden industry is going towards the bigger. Sometimes I do question it too, because the plant may be the same size in a 4-inch pot as it is in a flat, but not everybody gets that. So we will be getting some flats. We will be getting flats of annuals, but only in probably petunias, marigolds, impatiens. And if you're getting pushback on that, oh my gosh, text me, call me, do whatever. I can fix that. But early on, the flats don't sell as quickly as the Mother's Day stuff. So hopefully we'll get a balance in that going. Also, if make sure if you've got cones for your parking lot to protect that area while you're unloading too, so no one gets hurt. Space allocation. This page right here, I thought was really interesting. It tells you how much space you should offer for each, like annuals, hanging baskets, patio pots. Gives you a general idea if you're new to the garden center. But that's different in every area. With all our stores, we all sell at different times. Supply order is here. It's also on Trello with the SKU numbers. This is vendor information, which basically I do. I am doing all the marketing for the garden centers. So I will love pictures. My phone is just full of pictures of flowers. It really makes me happy. So I love these pictures. Put some of your faces in these pictures because they recognize you as the people that are helping them in the store. Here's our Joliet store. We're so famous in some of these. It's amazing. Manpower planning. We've talked about staffing. Make sure your staffing is scheduled. like I said, Paulette can help you. Now is the time to make them get on it because I think it's going to be like close to 70 today. And those garden centers need to be set up because if they're not, the hanging baskets sit on the ground and we don't want them to sit on the ground. So we're in the countdown. And there's best practices in this that are going to pertain to us. I am leaving here and going to Homer Glen, where I'm going to see what I have left in fixturing. So if you are not set up and you feel like, oh my God, I don't have enough room for this or that, email me, text me, let me know, let your GM know, let Paulette know. I will see what is left out in Homer Glen as far as some um, purchased display material we got. There is also a ton of sign holders like this. They're metal, they're on a stand. Let me know because I'm going to be there this afternoon. In this book too are all display ideas to get the most out of your product. So this is really well worth doing. And then we're into training. What I loved about Riley is she just set the terms for having a huddle. Once you meet with your team knows who they are. You know, do this with, direct report to your manager so they know what's going on. This gives you some guidelines of what to talk about and some topics. Then right now too, I want to discuss with you when we're discussing delivery safety. Do whatever you can to protect your customer, to protect your staff. Make sure when the lift gate's going down on the trucks that, toes or fingers are around there. So I would suggest the girls and the guys at the garden center wear gloves when they're offloading. There's metal and all sorts of things. There's a daily task list, which I have put on Trello for you. And these racks are really tall from Hybels. Hybels is a chosen vendor. So is Monrovia from Ace Corporate. So you know what? You might need a step stool or something to get to the top. I know Jen likes to climb them, but I don't think that's necessarily safe. So you might want to make sure somebody's out there. Tripping hazards. Also, what happens when we unload the flowering product, especially leaves fall off, and guess what? It's slippery. If you've watered and the petals are on the ground, it's slimy and slippery. So be very cautious of that. Honest to God, you get a truck in and every customer in the world wants to walk out and see what you're doing. So just make sure your space is clean, be polite, have conversations, but also be aware of your surroundings to make sure that everyone is safe. I will do the ordering. Now, I'm going to rely on you guys to talk to me about your ordering. It's super hard to get. I like to drop orders on Monday because that's the freshest crop we will get at the growers. And then I can kind of judge whether we can get deliveries by Wednesdays or Thursdays or Fridays if I drop them on Monday. But I will rely a lot on I am now able to see more of what you've sold on computer now because we all have SKUs, but I also need your input. Like, this person's really disappointed because we don't have Roma tomatoes. So I will be calling and talking to you or your manager. Just like on Arma with your walkthrough, there's a daily walkthrough at the garden center. I have that on your Trello. I keep putting pictures on Trello of different garden centers. Remember the Facebook page Ace puts up, which is Ace Garden Place. They have all sorts of pictures of different stores. Right now, there's a sale going on south of us in Illinois, and this guy orders 3 truckloads of Boston ferns. sells them for $9.99 each. It's a mad crazy rush for them. So everybody has different niches. It's fun to watch. Since we have 15 stores, you're at 15 different locations. I try to watch your weather reports. On mine have every location captured, but managers and greenhouse staff, please watch your weather in your area. We had hail in Home Glen one year that took out almost all the plants, and nobody else got hit like that. So, check this flip book out. I think it's got really good stuff in it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it would take forever. But I do want to go back to this in my PowerPoint. This is the daily checklist. So for instance, Ruth, you're in charge of your garden center, but when your kids are there, you can always hand them off this checklist to make sure these are things that they can do when they're just not so sure what to do. There is always something to do at that garden center. If you have a team working under you and they're not working, we haven't instructed them properly, so let's get them instructed. There's a PDF on Trello of this checklist that I think is useful. Your first big promotion will be on Mother's Day weekend, and it is a store-wide promotion called Hometown Sales. Tiffany will be blowing it up on social media. Hydrangeas right here are what's going to be $5 off. I think last year, remember the tomato sale? Well, tomatoes are really kind of zone friendly. And so this is a national sale. All hydrangeas can be sold nationally. They're going to be $5 off. I am working on a SKU with Harry and Murph to get one SKU for a hydrangea. It's kind of tough because they're coming in from different vendors. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for your point of sale cashiers. So this sale is going to be your first Mother's Day sale. With Hometown Days, they want you to do demos, kids activities. You're going to get a mini bucket, and they want you to plant a plant in a mini bucket. Totally up to you. I tell you, you're busy as heck that weekend. Paulette has always been able to pull off planting in the stores at her green garden centers. I think they used to do something as simple as buying a cup, letting the kids color a cup, and putting a plant in it. If you have the staff to do that, I, on the other hand, always couldn't even keep my head above water that day because we were so busy. So it just kind of depends on your location. But again, I will tell you to make sure and tell your team, any kid that walks in the greenhouse should receive a small flower out of a flat pack. Drop to your knees, let them pick a color that's their favorite. Take that plant out of the socket. Tell them to go home, to dig a hole twice as big as the bottom of that. Put some water in it. Take that plant, hold it up, and tickle its feet. Tickle the root system. Then put it in the hole, squish it with your fingers, and come back and tell me how that plant grew. You have just built a customer forever. I'm telling you, give them a moment. Plus, it gives their mom a moment to shop in your garden center. Don't charge them for it. It's not a big deal. Just help in any way possible. Here are some basic supplies in here. Potting mix with, make sure your soils are somewhere attainable in your garden center. I suggest to put them right in your garden center some way. I'm going to show you this short video from Ace about the hydrangea sale. So if you've got a second,
We can't hear it, Lori.
Oh, shoot. Hang on. Teams. Thanks, Paulette. Settings. I might have to skip that and send that to you separately. Anyway, this explains why Ace is doing the hydrangeas. I think it's a good video. I will send that to you. Sorry about that. But I will send that to you separately when I send you the recording for all this. I guess my one question at the end of this is to talk about training. So I'm trying to cover the basis of training in all your stores, but yet I know you don't have everybody hired and in place. So I have the recordings. I am happy to do one-on-one trainings if you hire a team member in. Just give me a little forewarning about when and how to do that. Do you have any preferences or suggestions about training? Next week, the 15th, is a very important training you should be at. But I see a lot of managers and I know that a lot of our training pertains to your team. So any suggestions about training for your team members? Okay. Well,
Lori, are you trying to ask us how to train or what to train on?
Well, for one thing, I know managers are too busy to train greenhouse. You just are. You're crazy busy that time of year. So how do I get your team trained efficiently? So if you have suggestions, I can have another training just for new staffing before Mother's Day. Are they getting the recordings listened to? I don't know, but this knowledge is in all your managers' heads, which I love, but I need it in their heads, right? So like what Riley did, I help me figure out how to get your team trained. Because at the end of the year, everybody will say we didn't have enough training. And I get that there's a lot of stuff, but help me learn how to do that because I am here for you. I will do whatever you need to train your staff. But you guys get confident that you know it, but you don't realize they don't know it. And it'll be easier for you if I make sure they know it. So that's
I
kind of what
th-
I'm looking for.
I think if you're going all in on Trello, like you want everyone to be on Trello, put
Mhm.
videos on Trello. Can you put videos on Trello?
Yeah, they're on Trello now. Everything
Okay.
that we've already discussed, every training is on Trello and all the playbooks are on Trello. I will tell you, Melissa, there's a lot on Trello that it's hard to find sometimes. It's
Yeah, I haven't looked.
to take the time to navigate it. But I am here. I will help you with it. I will help them with it. Like, use me as a source. I am semi-retired now. All I'm doing is greenhouse. Tiffany's doing the heavy lifting. So I am here to help you grow these garden centers. And I will tell you, I just had a meeting with the guys. Garden centers are our future. And I think they have some tremendous faith that we're going to have a great garden center year. So I want you to be able to do that without adding more burden to your plate.
Lord, just a couple suggestions. That Garden Place ALP class is a good training tool they could utilize that I think
Yep.
you also recommended. Riley, like you said, she made a beautiful agenda, but those, people she's worked with mostly before. But a good nugget that Mantino did too was a greenhouse group me. So all your emails, your correspondence, all the things you're putting out, they're just throwing in that isolated group so that whole team is aware. Just some things I heard out there.
Thank you, Paulette. And I tossed that around. I know Tiffany is doing a group me for promo coordinators, and Mantino has been fantastically successful in their group me as far as internal communication. I didn't want to get too much in the weeds with too many group me's. And I think Paulette's suggestion, like managers, look into that. Like if it's your day off and you see a storm coming, if you have a group me, from what I heard from Matt and Jeremiah, that group me works fantastically for them. You know, no matter where they are, they have touching points with their team. And it, you know, they've had fantastic luck. And from, am I correct, Matt? Do you want to say anything about group me?
Yeah, there's not a day that we don't use GroupMe. Just it's extremely helpful to get information across to the whole team because everyone knows to look at it.
Yeah, and I love that because if I do group me with 15 stores and 60 people, it doesn't make sense. It's just too much. If you do it internally, you're running your team. So I don't think it's that hard to figure out if you need some help. I'm sure Jeremiah or Matt would tell you, you know, how they implemented that. I think it's just basically getting everybody's phone numbers. But you know, I think it's an option for you. You know, you don't have to do it, but it's an option. Any other questions? If you hire somebody last minute and they're gonna control your entire greenhouse or whatever, call me, I'll get them in on a training. We'll have a teams. No excuses. I will make sure I do that as long as you hire them, you know, before Mother's Day weekend. So, and I mean, David has gone through the labor hours with me, and I think you're all going to be fine with labor hours. He felt strongly that you're going to be able to function well with the labor provided. And if you don't, go to your GM or go to me. GM is more labor hours. I am operations in the greenhouse. Any
I think
other
The big
questions?
points on the training is watering thoroughly instead of just spritzing. And because already, even with my pansies, I've seen it, you know, in my absence. So to water till that's coming all the way through, especially when it's warmer weather, and deadheading, to properly deadhead.
I agree, Mikey, 100%. And I'm hoping that next week with high bills that should, because she talks about annuals, which is a lot of the deadheading and I agree. If you say to someone, hey, go out and water, they're gonna take the hose and they're gonna water all the leaves and it's never gonna hit the soil. So we'll do a little more talk at our next training about watering. If you need me to come out, just give me some time to get out there. I would be happy. Whatever you guys need, I am here for you. Your GM is here for you. Paulette is here for you. Don't be afraid to ask. If you're asking, David tells me this all the time. If somebody asks, somebody else has got it in their head. They just haven't asked yet. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. I will see you next Wednesday at 10 o'clock for the high bills training. Hopefully, if you have any questions, write them down about high bills. I expect like to hear from you guys about what they want us to do with these darn racks that they don't pick up, because I harp on it all the time. I think it would be nice if they heard it from you, like the racks are a problem in our stores because we don't have storage facilities for them. So I am going to Homer Glen. Shoot me an email if you're like, hey, I'm going to need this, or I'm interested in more shelving. at this point, I think, I just have to see what's out there. But I think you're gonna have a fantastic year, and please use me as a resource. Use us as a resource. That's what we're here for. Don't be afraid to ask. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.